Now, we tend to take the sun for granted. I mean, it comes up in the morning, it goes down at night, we go on with our business, right? We don't think too much about it. Turns out there's actually a lot of evidence for design and fine-tuning of our sun. Fun fact about the sun, the solar nebula model, which is the secular model for where the solar system came from, says that the solar system formed from a big cloud of gas that collapsed into a disk and began to swirl with the sun in the middle and the planets in the outer parts. If that were true, then you would expect the sun to line up with this disk shape that the planets orbit in. This is called the plane of the ecliptic. So the planets all orbit in the same plane, kind of a disk shape around the sun. If the sun had formed from this cloud of gas with everything else, which is what the secular model says, then you should see the equator of the sun, and the sun spinning this way, lined up with all the planets. But it's not. The sun is actually tilted over slightly, like this. So this is the equator, and the pole, instead of being up and down, is over here. This is about a 7-degree angle. Now that doesn't sound like much, but you have to realize the solar system is about 2.8 billion miles wide. I'm looking at the orbit of Neptune as the outer edge. If you look at this distance here, this tells us how much the sun is misaligned with the planets, if you will. That turns out to be 343 million miles. If this had all formed from a disk, you'd expect the sun to be rotating this way, but it's not. You have to deal with this if you're a secular modeler. How did this happen? Either something pushed the sun over, or something moved all the planets together. Neither of those explanations make sense. I think the Lord did this on purpose, just to cause problems for people trying to explain things without Him. If you're dealing with trying to model how it all got here without God, then you have to somehow explain why it's hundreds of millions of miles off from where the model says it should be.